Today we got a very, very, very special guest. We got Madison Hotmer. Madison,
Hello, hello.
This is a handshake.
Madison, thanks for coming on. You're our first guest.
Yes. First
Wow.
guest. How do you feel?
I'm honored. You
Honored.
asked me like
Honored.
5 minutes
Honored.
ago, so
All right, so we were talking about club swimming, not necessarily GCU Club Swimming, although you are a part of the program. We're talking about college club swimming in general. All right. But first, we want to hear your take on GCU Club Swimming. What do you love most about it?
I love the people involved in it. Love the coaching staff. Um it gets me out of my dorm and lets me do something. So that's good.
Awesome. And what do you think about the competition? Like, would you say that it's faster than high school, as fast as high school, slower than high school, as good as NAIA, D3, D2, D1? Where would you rank it?
Um well, for me personally, going into it, I thought it was going to be a lot slower than my high school competition, but then once I started in some swim meets, I realized that it was just about the same, if not faster, especially at our nationals meets.
Yeah, definitely. We were talking about how it's slower than high school. It's probably about the same, but it might be slower because the people who win state and high school state like go on to swim D1, D2 obviously, right? So we're obviously not going to have that type of speed there. But we do have like ex D1 swimmers who compete in college club swimming, and so that's why we think it's probably as fast as high school swimming. Awesome. Why do you think people should join college club swimming? What's your take?
Um, I originally joined my freshman year. I originally joined just to get me involved in something right off the bat, and then I came back because I realized, okay, like it wasn't that big of a commitment as what I thought it would be, or if I was going to swim on like the actual like D1 team or whatever. Um, but I think it's a good way to like branch out and make friends. They all have the same passion you did, like if you swam in high school or swam in previous years. So they kind of like what you like. Um, and yeah, it just makes you feel a part of something.
What do you what do you think like the atmosphere is like about about CCS college club swimming? Do you think it's like the same as high school? Do you think it's the same as club? Do you think it's like, better, or like, what are your thoughts on the atmosphere of it?
I think for me, I would compare it to my club team because we were all closer on my club team than I was with any other girl on my high school team. Um, Also, in high school, it was more so like just girls and just guys, whereas club is co-ed. They're both co-ed, but it didn't feel that way in high school. In this one, I literally feel like I'm just as close as the guys as I am to the girls. So that's also nice to have that different.
Definitely. Yeah. And then what do you think the stress level is like swimming for CCS?
Um, I don't really think there is a stress level. I think you get out of it what you put into it. So, like, for some of us, I know that it's a big deal to make these times and to attend practices and everything. So, that might be a little stressful for someone who's like that and trying to stay on top of schoolwork and everything, but it's not hard in any way. But then you might also have some people who don't really put in as much effort, so obviously their stress level isn't going to be as high.
Yeah. We talked about how like some people who swim D1 and are on scholarship might change their majors to something easier so that they can maintain their scholarship, or where it just becomes a chore for them, where after they finish their 4 years they just get burnt out and they literally hate swimming afterwards. Do you know of anybody like that? Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that, nor have I met anyone who has done that, but I do know that that is a thing. I've also talked to someone who swims D1, and she mentioned to me that she wishes that she would have just done a club team because it's just so much with all the practices and then trying to stay on top of schoolwork and having a social life and everything.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. And then what do you think about like your academics? Do you think you've had to compromise? Do you think you've had to, you
Hi,
know,
Jay.
do swimming over your homework and your academics, or choose academics over swimming, or have you had a pretty solid balance?
I had a pretty solid balance. I know that I'm going to school for my academics, so I think if I had to pick one, obviously I would pick my schoolwork over anything if it ever came down to that, but I've never been in a position where I think one has overtaken the other, or where I felt the need that one might be kind of holding me back or interfering with the other one. So
Yeah. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
All right. So for those who are looking to swim post high school, they want to swim collegiately. Would you say that this is a viable option, or do you think it's just people who get in and swim and then go to a few meets, or do you think like, hey, if you honestly genuinely want to compete after high school and compete at a high level and really get everything offered to you with your academics and being able to swim, do you think this is like a viable option, or do you think do you think that you've had to give up some things and you haven't gotten a full experience of what you've wanted out of it?
no, I think my only recommendation would be to join a club sport of some sort. Um, I think that with club sports, it's easier to branch out and do other things, and you don't feel as tied down as I think you would feel if you were to be going to school on scholarship for another sports team that's D1, D2, or whatever. I think that doing club sport would be the best option for anyone.
Awesome.
Definitely.
You got anything you want to add?
I was just just thinking about it. We didn't really do like an introduction for Madison, so nobody really
Madison,
knows who you are.
the
So
people want to know who you
people want to
are.
know who you are.
Gosh.
Could you give a small intro? Should we give an introduction for you?
We could give an introduction for you if you want that.
I don't care.
So yes, you want us
You
to
can
do it?
give it to me. You do
Okay. All right.
All right. So as you guys know, this is Madison Hotmer. She's going into her junior year at GCU. That's about all I know.
She's a psych major. She is studying psychology, and she wants to go into sports psychology, which actually is a great segue into it's called, what's it called? The Weight of Gold on HBO, that is coming out on the 29th of July. This will probably be posted after that, but if you haven't seen it, it's called The Weight of Gold. It talks about athletes who are who go through a lot of mental toughness and sometimes depression and stuff post Olympics, and it kind of talks about that, and that's really intriguing for Madison as she's going into a sports psychology major, and she's also from California. More specifically, she's from Rancho Santa Margarita, California.
And her address is. No, I'm kidding.
She swam at, and I actually don't know the high school you swam at.
I swam for Trabuco Hills High School.
That's right. No, actually, I did know that. Trabuco Hills High School, and the club team she swam on was the Coats, the Codos.
Kodo Coyotes.
Kodo Coyotes.
They're Kodo Coyotes.
Yeah. So if you're from California, if you're from RSM, as they call
As
it,
the locals call
as
it.
the locals call it, if you're from RSM, feel free to shout out Madison. If you're from Trabuco or from the Kodo Coyotes, feel free to drop a follow, drop a like for Madison Hotmer. Well, Madison, it was a pleasure having you on the Splash
Thank
Pad.
you very much for asking me to
podcast.
come.
Hopefully you'll join us for more. Let's talk about for GCU Club Swimming. Let's talk about that. She joined her freshman year. She actually wasn't going to join her freshman year. I think that's important to note. She wasn't going to join. She just showed up to the informational meeting and she was like, like I swam, so might as well continue. So she joined, and she became one of our student leaders. She's actually the president of our club program, going into her 3rd year. So we're super excited to have her. She'll be one of very few people to be continuing swimming with us throughout her whole college tenure. We've only had one other person do that. So you're joining an elite group, Madison, an elite group. Awesome. Well, check out our website. She's on there. She holds some of our records. She's on our roster. Madison, great swimmer. Swims IM, backstroke, distance freestyle apparently. Breaststroke too apparently. She also swam fly for us at nationals.
This is like what we were talking about earlier.
This is what we were talking
yourself
about.
down
Yeah.
to just one stroke,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Example,
Be
Madison Hotmer.
be a well-rounded athlete. And coaches love that. And so Madison's been a great addition to our program in the water, and then also as a leader, she's really helped develop this year into what it is with how many athletes we have and all the things we're doing. So we're excited to have her on board. We're excited for the season. We're very grateful that you blessed our podcast with your appearance, and we're excited to hopefully have you on again.
Yes.
All right. Awesome.